Well, this month's Eye on Economic Development segment, we take a closer look at some of the big things happening in downtown Indy that affect things like quality of place. And I'm pleased to be joined, as always, by national site selection firm KSM Location Advisors CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp. Welcome, as always.
Thanks, Gary.
The Elkhart development I mentioned there, as well as so many other developments around the state, really do impact quality of life, quality of place. Ball State University recently updated their county-by-county rankings. Mike Hicks and the folks at Ball State, county-by-county rankings of quality of place. Any takeaway that you had, Katie, from that report?
Well, I think metrics are always useful. I think that particular formula may start to give a hint at the picture of quality of place, but it's so much more complicated and sophisticated than a simple metric. And so, for example, just because population is increasing at a faster than average rate, or because wages are going up a little bit, that doesn't necessarily speak to what's going on in that quality of place. And I think the definition is broadening a lot to start tackling issues like inclusiveness, diversity. Are we welcoming to millennial workforce, the type of people that the large employers are going to need to hire? And I think that that's when you start looking at maybe more of the qualitative type information, like what's going on in Indy now and other types of things.
Well, you talk about Indianapolis, Tim, certainly a lot of attention has been focused on so many changes related to quality of life downtown, including in the food and restaurant scene.
Yeah, you just see more restaurants popping up, and they're not chains. They're new to that area. If you look down Mass Ave and just downtown, there are so many choices now, and that's part of what you're trying to do. You're trying to create those opportunities and things that attract some of the people that you're trying to get to be downtown.
And in your view, that has a direct impact on the ability to attract and retain people, economic development projects?
Absolutely. Food and drink, that is very appealing to the millennial population, and that's the type of thing that you have to do to attract that workforce.
Not just millennials.
Yes.
Very good point.
But if you look at all the redevelopment projects, like in downtown Indy, for example, although Fort Wayne and South Bend have them, I mean, there is an intentional strategy with food and drink and mixed use, work, live, play, and part of that is having interesting options for food.
Yeah, and food will be a big part of the Bottle Works development, a massive development on the north, I guess it's the north end of Mass Ave. It's going to change that area there in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, Hendricks, they have a great development up on the north side with Ironworks, and this is going to be another addition to that. You've got High Alpha that's going to be an anchor for some jobs, so it really is mixed use in every sense of the word.
Another piece of quality of life, where we hear a lot about it, quality of place, is transportation, connectivity, and the ability to be walkable and get from point A to point B. In downtown Indy, we've seen scooters pop up in a big way. It's causing some controversy in some areas. But also the Red Line transit, mass transit, is becoming reality. As you look at those things, Katie, I'll start with you. Your take, the Red Line, people are telling me, hey, this is really going to happen because they can physically see it coming out of the ground.
You can feel every minute of it in your commute, but
exactly.
Short-term pain, long-term gain. I think it's going to be really interesting. We've got a large number of a younger workforce, like up in Fishers, and the people I talk to, there seems to be a real interest in trying to look at, there's appeal to looking at your phone or reading the paper the whole way down if you don't need your car every day. But I mean, we're still the Midwest, so I can't wait to see what those numbers are.
How does it impact, Tim, in your view, companies' decisions? Again, you talk about the millennial, those younger workers. How does it affect that?
Yeah. Transit's an issue in Indianapolis, and I think it's an important part of the solution. I think it had some controversy associated with it. It still does, but at this point, it's going to happen. We need to get behind it as a city and make sure we do everything we can to make it successful.
You've got to have residential options, and for the longest time, years ago, Indianapolis could never get that residential component going. Now, lots of folks are living downtown. Is overbuilding an issue on the apartment side?
I think it's to be determined. There's certainly a critical mass of people downtown now, and it's supporting all that other investment. So the developers, they continue to build, and I think until you start to see some flattening out, it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, and big projects too. Ambrose with the Waterside development, the old GM stamping plant is a massive development that folks are looking forward to as well.
Yeah, and with regard to the residential and the housing, these plans are always fluid, and good developers pivot as information changes. So I have no doubt if it's overbuilt, it won't stay they won't continue on that trajectory.
Yeah. Lots changing in Indianapolis and certainly around the state of Indiana when it comes to quality of life, quality of place projects. Tim Cook, Katie Culp, thanks for some great perspective as always.
Thanks, Gary.
All right.